Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Jessica Abernathy, and with me today is Tricia Montgomery, and you are listening to Pets Are Family.
I am so excited for today. Jessica, are you excited? Because I'm excited.
Always.
When I'm excited,
Always.
you're excited. And
Always.
Matthew, we're so pleased to have you today. Guys, our audience today, we are joined by Matthew Koutas. And it's Koutas, is that correct? Or am I saying it correctly?
Usually
Koutas?
there's like a silent H on the end, but that version
Koutas.
is very popular.
Because you are Canadian, and that's why there's a silent H on the end of that. Is that correct, maybe?
No, it's Hungarian. My father was Hungarian, so it has.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, Matthew, you're a pet industry with over 30 years of experience. You're also, and I found you on LinkedIn, you're the founder of PALS Pet Management. And this is really, from what I understand, it's a digital and human-powered solution. And you're helping condos and residential communities really becoming more pet-friendly, more peaceful, and more responsible. So your work really goes beyond just, really just from pet registration. You're creating communities where people can thrive together. I think you're focused on policy development and behavioral support. You're also talking about conflict resolution and community engagement. And what you're doing, I think it's so cool, having been in animal welfare and understanding, that, being able to keep your pets, and that is a challenge. You're transforming how properties really think about pet ownership. My first question for you is, you've got an incredibly beautiful, diverse background. What inspired you to create PALS? And within your experience, how did this all come together between property management and pet care, really?
Well, thank you for the question, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here with you guys. Yeah, my background is obviously in this. I started in the service industry, so doing everything from walking and grooming and boarding and daycare. And when I started, it was actually quite rare to have pets or dogs in apartments and condos. And if they were only very small, and it was I would say maybe 5% of the buildings. And then over the years, I started to see a change. There was a lot of change in demographic. People were having kids later. Obviously, of all cities, they had to go vertical because there was no more horizontal space. Where I am in Toronto, it's the largest amount of condos and high-rise apartments being built anywhere in North America right now.
Wow.
And so you were starting to see the sort of way people live change. And then obviously about 15 years ago, probably, you notice a different dynamic and relationship happening with families when it came to their pets, where it became more as a circle, right? They became more part of the whole circle of the family. And so they were integrated more into the community. And I was starting to see over the last, couple of years, maybe right before COVID, is I was starting to see this change where two things were happening. Condos and apartment were trying to attract those residents.
Mm-hmm.
And also the pet parents or guardians were starting to look for condos or apartments that were providing some kind of environment for them. And what I thought was interesting is that they were wanting them to come. They wanted the residents, but they didn't really have anything other than saying they were pet friendly, which I thought was kind of a unique proposition, because I always.
What does that mean?
Well, I refer to it like organic vegetables. It's quite a broad term, right? It can mean a lot of things to different people. Yeah. And so I was really fascinated from my background. The other side of it is the staff trained. Is it a 360-degree environment, meaning you have the front end, which is the amenities and services and maybe events. But on the back end, if you go from 5% to 30%, what does that do, to the community? Mm-hmm. Obviously, a condo has a lot of challenging things, especially for dogs. Anyways, noises, sounds, elevators, lots of people in close spaces. And when I was starting to talk to people in the condo management, they just had really no thought whatsoever about what that would mean. And so that sort of was the entrance point for me. It's kind of saying, hey, this is happening and this is the way that our communities are growing, but there doesn't seem to be any thought about what that's going to mean. And then if you obviously take the lens out, think about cities, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I mentioned this to Jessica before. I mean, COVID was the largest adopting, purchasing, whatever version of it is, of pets in my generation ever. And so you have this huge escalation of pets being a part of people's families, but
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have time to plan for it or challenge for it. And I see it every day. And it's just, for me personally, is wanting to create this kind of vertical community within this that accommodates the pet's best needs, the people who are not pet owners, because that's obviously a consideration to make it a pet friendly, and then also elevate the idea of what pet friendly means. Because I think right now, and we also do condos, but we also do hotels as well, of just the idea of what that means, for a business standpoint, providing the best possible service or community you can, but also for pet owners saying, hey, these are the things that they really think about, are concerned about, and are making decisions about. So you need to address them. Otherwise, everyone can just slap a sticker on their building or their hotel and say,
Right.
we're pet friendly.
Yeah, I love that. So I wanna dive with you a little bit more.
Yep.
In it, if you look at a broad spectrum and into a nutshell, what do you do exactly? What does PALS do exactly?
So what we do is we do two sides. So it's a digital platform, and
Mhm.
on the client side, they go through a whole onboarding process from a behavior. We call PALS stands for the behavioral assessment is personality, adaptability, lifestyle, and sociability. And so we
Okay.
have this online assessment that they do, and it's built by trainers and vets and industry experts like me. And we've created it so, and I know this from the service industry, where just like our people with their children, they don't always tell you the truth, right? They want to be
Really?
Never, never.
They want to believe that their hope of what they say their dog or pet is like is what they will be like. So we've designed the questions where they can't really tell why we're asking it, and the algorithm that we've created for it. And from that, it creates 4 personality types. And those personality types have two purposes. One, the pet owner gets a whole thing back about, hey, you're moving into this condo. Here are all the things that we assess about your dog. Here are some tools and scenarios that you can do to help your dog. There's a support line right to our trainers and saying, hey, we can help you with these issues before you get in. But then on the other side, the condo and their staff get this whole information packet too and say, hey, this is a dog maybe who doesn't like to be approached quickly. This is a dog who gets scared in small spaces. This is a dog, all of those things. And then on top of it, obviously, you have the basic things of a pet registry, a profile, photo. And so all of this information gets onboarded for the condo. So not only do they, are they prepared for the dog that's coming, they also have an understanding of the community that they're building. And then within that app as well, we have a community for all the pet owners in that building that has all of the policies and protocols and rules for the building, but also have the events and our preferred partner service providers, so dog walking or daycare or whatever. And then the outer circle for the condo is all the preferred partners, so the vets and the pet stores and the pet-friendly cafes or whatever it is. So we basically try to create this kind of 360 community for that building, as well as offering on the other side the safety and sort of peace of mind.
That sounds fantastic.
I know it's crazy. Go ahead, Jess.
I was just saying, it sounds fantastic. It takes the guesswork out of everything, or phone calling constantly. Are you pet friendly? Are you pet friendly? Are you pet friendly? Can I bring my dog? Can I bring my dog?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just thinking from the standpoint that I know with Paws Humane Society, whenever I was there, a lot of people would not tell the truth. And they would say, yeah, my condo's pet friendly, and I've checked with my landlord, I've checked with people, and it's fine. How do you go about that? I mean, and because you're going to get that, right?
Yeah, and so you'll get a hot take right now. We're actually launching the new version of it this week, and it's that part of it's called PALS approved. And so
Okay.
the building has to go through basically an audit that we do, and we rate the buildings for those. So we have an algorithm that we create, and there's about 150 different criteria that make it pet friendly. The rating system within that for the client, and part of that also is we have a program to help the condos because a lot of times people say it's not that they're being disingenuous; they just don't know what they could do, right?
Yeah, they don't know what they don't know. Right.
Yes, and I think I told Jessica the story is I went to a condo that was being built, and they were just finished, and they said, "Oh, I'm going to show you the pet amenities," and they had out like they all do the pet spa that is the size of a closet, and then they said we built a park because we had all these people who were interested in coming to who had pet owners who wanted to rent from us, and so they built on the second floor an outdoor little parquet for the dogs. And I went out there, and the fence was 1.5 feet on the second floor.
No. Oh my
Sorry.
gosh.
And it wasn't that they were trying to be unsafe, or they just
They didn't know.
didn't know. And what they do is, like you would expect, is that they go to the people that do the construction in the condo and say, "Hey, this is what we want." And so what we're trying to give them is access to expertise and say, "Hey, you want to build this? Let us help consult to build the kind of environment you want." Yes, maybe a bit higher.
Just a little higher.
Yes.
Just a little.
Just a little bit higher.
Ooh.
And so that's really the big part of it is it's not about trying to shame these people into being more pet friendly. It's basically saying,
Right.
"Hey, here's a whole toolkit for you," because we understand from their perspective, they see this demand going up, and they, as condos or high-rise apartments, want those clients in because I think it's pet owners are 35% stay longer in a condo or an apartment, 35% longer than a non-pet owner.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
And so
Harder to pack up and leave.
that's right. And especially even more because what they're trying to do is, as we all know, if you live in a neighborhood, you have your neighbors and your friends on that horizontal living, and that makes it harder to leave, right? You may have kids that go to school together, or you may have friends. And so they're trying to create in this vertical space a horizontal living. And so part of what we're trying to do is say, hey, this is a whole community. They'll have here's the preferred vet, and here's we have a in-house walking service that we can set up for them. And then they have events, and then the big one is that they have this background side, especially for the staff. The idea that they are not training their staff, or at least giving their staff skills to handle these pets that are coming in, seems to me so counterproductive to being pet friendly. Because as you both know probably better than anyone, the more information and knowledge you have, the more comfortable you're going to be around the pets or dogs that are coming in. If you have no
100%
experience
right.
whatsoever, you're going to be fearful, which will then result in the dog being fearful, and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm. Up and down the leash.
Yes.
What are, Matthew, what are some common, I guess, not pain points, but maybe conflicts when pets are not properly managed within these condos or communities? What are some things that, like worst case scenarios, what can happen?
Well, I think one of the big ones that happened to a lot of these condos is when, the end of COVID and people were going back to the office more, or whatever version of it is. There was a massive separation anxiety issue going on. And so you had these condos complaining, the residents of the condos complaining, saying, hey, the dogs are barking all day long. No one's there. And they don't really have any way to facilitate that. So we have it with our app, like a 24-hour support that you can bring some of our pros in to kind of work with the residents, obviously. A helpline to ask the questions for both client and for building. I mean, I think the other one, and I'm sure you both have seen it, is what was very unique about what happened in this massive adoption of pets was you had first-time pet owners who never would have owned pets other than this special circumstance, and also breeds that you would never expect them to get or should get. And so,
Right.
and so
Yeah,
that
the
same,
should get is a good one.
I mean, I see, and I'm sure you both feel this, is you can walk down I can walk down the street and I can identify these clients, and like I can see who they are and understand what their background and what kind of pet owners they are, what they're looking for. But when this happened, I saw people I've never seen have pets. I saw them have breeds that you would never, you're like, wow, this is an interesting, for an urban environment to have this kind
Nice,
of, and
nice little combo there. Yeah. We
yeah,
were we were fortunate enough, and we're still doing it a little bit, is working with the city of Neom in Saudi Arabia. They're
oh,
taking
wow,
those 5 regions and they're building out the community. And from a standpoint of never having pets as family members, allowing those into the communities and really building the infrastructure. I think that the project's going to go through to 2030, but it was really interesting that how do you build a pet community from the ground up? And especially in that, that type of, it's a condo environment, everything's enclosed. There's no, just houses, everything's enclosed within the
Yeah.
desert. It's really crazy. So can you, I guess, implementing this, can you share an example, like what has been a noticeable change and improvement from a community that's been utilizing the PALS program?
I think a lot of it is about knowledge. And I think acknowledging, and I think one of the really interesting things for condos and hotels is, excuse me, is that the thought originally is thinking about it just as a service. Like you go into these meetings and you talk to them, and I always say these meetings are always interesting because if you have someone who is a pet owner across from you, it's a totally different meeting. If you have someone who's never had a pet, they look at you sort of sideways, and they think about it not to be craft, but they think about it like a dry cleaning service, right? They think,
Mhm.
okay, you're going to come in and you do all this. So I think the big thing is knowledge. I think the other part of it is, which I think a lot of people don't consider, is these communities have still more non-pet owners than pet owners.
Right.
And so I think that, like, the conflict resolution and solving the issues for them, I think has made a more harmonious community. I think, especially for pet owners, giving them the tools, because I think a lot of these new pet owners don't have the toolkit yet.
Mhm.
And in my experience, at least seeing in the last 4 years, I've seen a shift of people not socializing their dogs as they used to. And I say it's sort of like the kids, where they like their own kids, but they don't like other kids. Right?
Right.
And so you're seeing that, I think, in the dog world, especially, where people are very comfortable with their own dog and they take them on their walk, but they're not socializing them. And then obviously on top of that, you had COVID, where there was less socialization, right? And so I think that element of it, where you've got a lot of dog owners and who don't socialize their dogs, especially in a condo, and they don't have the tools. So what their natural instinct is to pull back and say, oh, he's not friendly, or he's this, or whatever it is.
Right.
And so it creates this tension for both the community of non-pet owners and pet owners. So I think the big thing that we found is a change in giving them this kind of tool, giving information on all sides, because I truly believe in this kind of community, every side of that corner is responsible. It's not just the pet owner, it's also the condo, it's also the people that work there. If you truly, because you can't just say, I'm going to try to increase this to 35% and then not take any responsibility for what that means. Because, and I think elevating the experience of living there so that the non-pet owners feel comfortable, the pet owners feel comfortable, and the people working there feel comfortable. And I think what that happens is then the level of anxiety for the dogs go right down. It doesn't become sort of this tense operation when you go outside your condo door, to the elevator, and through the lobby. Oh my God.
Yeah. You almost make it sound like it's we always say, it takes a village to raise a kid, but you're really actually making it takes a condo village to make the dog content and, good, in a good environment, you know what I mean? Because it goes besides just the pet parent, it takes all of the people in this village to make it a safe environment for the pet.
And a fun
But it's
environment too, right? That's the other side of it. And
but you're also talking about from technology through humanity, because you're taking technology and now you're turning this into humanizing it. I love this.
and
Right.
educating and creating what I really want to do is create a standard what pet friendly really means, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that, and I use this example when I explain it to people, saying, if you're in the industry, you know the difference between a real trainer and a not real trainer. But
Right.
the clientele generally maybe doesn't know, right? It's very hard for a pet parent to maybe differentiate between that because it all sort of comes and looks the same way. And so what I want to do is say, hey, no, this is really what pet friendly is. We want to have the tools to help you if you want to attract this clientele, and you want to, because it is a growing thing. But we want to give you the tools to actually be pet friendly. And I use the joke for hotels to say it's not just a bed and a bowl in your room.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Well, and
That's
it brings up. Sorry, Trish, I didn't mean to.
No, you're
cut in
fine.
front. It does bring up a really good point, though, because if you're in the industry, we use verbiage all the time, that not necessarily the general people or the pet parents actually understand what we're saying. Like, in that you're gonna with this tool that you're giving them, we're all using the same verbiage, so everybody's on the same page. Separation anxiety, we all are understanding that what that means. It's not, what I mean. Resource guarding. I've learned the hard way that some people don't understand what the word resource guarding is. You know what I mean? So I like that fact about this program. It's like everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands what's going on.
And creating
Yeah.
a lexicon of language that is consumable. That's the
Right.
big thing, because I always say the best trainers, I just using this analogy again, is the ones who don't need to be right, but want to be successful. Meaning,
Love that.
and how they get from A to B is the important part. And I find a lot of times in this industry, there's that kind of barrier. Say, hey, if it means the same thing, can you not create a lexicon of language that everyone can consume? It doesn't have to seem negative or have to seem like because to be successful, you want people to come and talk to you and explain them and say, I don't know how to do this, or no one wants to say they're a bad pet parent or not know how to, or say, and this happens in condos all the time. Owners are scared to go down the lobby because the experience they'll have with their dog. So they take their dog out on their little porch and they have a little pee pad or whatever it is, and they go to the bathroom, and the dog just that's the life that they have.
Yeah.
And they go out maybe late at night. And that's certainly not what I would want to see for those communities and you have to have people feel comfortable to sort of, correct these issues.
Correct.
Yeah. Matthew, I
So
love this.
cool.
I've got a couple more questions for you, and before we wrap up, I want to look at the larger picture, the really big picture. If you look 5 years down the line, what does this look like to you? And yeah, paint a picture. You got a blank canvas. What does it look like?
You mean for me, or just in general, in the general, I mean,
What do you want to accomplish? Where do you want it to go?
I mean, for us personally, we're really driven by the bigger picture of being involved with the sort of government side of it. How to sort of integrate this into. It's quite fascinating, and I say this all the time, is that, so a friend of mine, is getting a car, right? And they've researched everything, and they've gone through, and they've gone back and forth in the dealership. They've done all of these things. But people get a dog sometimes based on how they look or what they've seen in a movie, right?
Absolutely.
And a car you have maybe for 3 or 4 years, right? And a dog is integrated into your life. There's this massive change. So when I started in the service business, I said it was a luxury service. So people who use the services that we provided, it was sort of a luxury. And then it changed into what I call an essential service, where people were starting to say, hey, I'm going to get a dog. I want to make sure I have a dog walker or a daycare or whatever it is in advance. And now people are saying the dog or our pets are coming with us. I want them to come to me with the store. I want to go to the cafe with them. I want to, have in the condo. And so for us, it's saying, hey, they are now integrated in our lives in a way that they've never been. This generational change, because if you look at it, I think it's something like if you've had a dog growing up, I think it's 50% chance or 45% chance that you will have one as an adult, like you will get your own when you become an adult. So now you get this generational change of people who've never had dogs. So you just use that map out. So now that generation of people will expand. And so we're really interested in this idea of saying, how do you integrate pets into urban life in a way that's safe, that's manageable, that's consumable, but most important, that's a positive experience. And I'll tell you the whole story. I don't mean to put the city I'm in on blast, is that they're having an issue. There's so many dogs right now. And so I was watching, like we all do, and on holiday, I was binge watching Prime Video, some TV show, and this ad came on from the city of Toronto, and it was this scary dog growling, and it said, my dog's good off leash, and then it big X through it and said, no, my dog, and it was all these three things, and then the headline was, you're liable, just so you know.
Oh my gosh!
And for me, that was sort of like, I could see it's like a call for help.
What was it?
Right? They're sort of.
And what was it a commercial for?
It was a commercial basically saying, follow the rules of the city for your dog. Like, you can't let him off leash. You can't take him, because, and to me, it read sort of like a cry for help of saying, look, we have this massive dog population. We don't have skills to do it. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if you have a program for new dog owners that works with the city for the requirements that they have, but also help provide the pet owner with a real toolkit for pet ownership, which doesn't come from a vet or doesn't come from, and so that's what I'm really interested in, is obviously the condos and hospitality, that's the living part, but the larger community of creating an environment that's realistic, right? I think there's a lot of people in our industry who are unrealistic about what can happen, but also take in the account of what government is dealing with, obviously, what the pet parent is dealing with. And that just comes from planning and development and understanding what's coming. I think there was a report in 2019, and this was before all of this, in Toronto, that they had a massive paper saying we are not prepared for the pet community that's grown in our city. And that was 2019.
Yeah.
And I think
I don't think any of us were.
Yeah, I met through Jessica, I think before, is that there was more cats adopted than dogs during COVID.
Yeah. By men, not even by women. It was by men. And it's still going on, which is crazy.
Still going strong. And cats are left out, and Jessica's got Bin Laden.
I have Bin Laden as a cat, which everybody cracks up, but I have two, and both of them were adopted by my stepson. So, yep.
Yeah, it's a big change. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, my God. Matthew, it has been just such a delight having you join us today. You're doing I love what you're doing and how important it is.
Yeah,
your passion for helping communities just live harmoniously together. And importantly, having pets in there, people really thrive side by side together, and how important that is. It's so essential, and it's inspiring. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you to find out more information, where could they go find you?
Well, you can find, so the broader company that we have is called Republic of Dog. So you can find us online at republicofdog.ca, and all our contacts there. You can find me there. You can see everything that we're working on. And stay tuned for the new version launch of the PALS Approved this week, which we're really excited for. And it's been a pleasure. As I said to Jessica, I love talking to anyone who's been in the industry a long time, because we have the scars and the stories. If we could all get together and write a book, it would be
those stories would keep going strong. Right. I just thought that the pet industry is so large and expansive, but it's It's the
so
smallest,
small.
and
As well.
we all know each other, and just I think everybody to hear and support. And for our pet parents listening, guys, if you want to get involved with this in your city, reach out to Republic of Dog. It's republicofdog.com. Is that correct,
That's
Matthew?
No,
That's
CA.
Yeah, a CA to see for Canada, because you are in Canada. It was Canada yesterday. So thanks for being with us, Matthew. Such a joy to have you. Thank you so much. And make sure you guys check out Pals as well.
Yes. Thanks so
Yeah.
much for having us. It was amazing.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Pets Are Family. You can find us on all the channels now. Yes, all the channels now. So make sure you share us with your friends, your families, and your coworkers, and anybody that has a pet. Make sure you like us, give us your feedback, tell us if anything that you want us to talk about, all that fun stuff. You can reach me at Jessica at petsourfamily.net or Tricia at petsourfamily.net. Thank you for everything that you guys do, but make sure you like us, subscribe, check us out on YouTube. You can always see what we're up to. And we want to thank all of our sponsors, all of the people that support us. We love every one of you, and we can't thank you enough. And remember, check out Moose's March, moosesmarch.com, moosesmarch.com. Come check us out. Talk to you guys soon. We'll see you next week. Bye.